Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Hacker 101. If you haven't been following along, you may want to go back and start on the very first video in the playlist, and that's where we talk about how to install Kali Linux in VirtualBox. And then second, we install Metasploitable 2 in VirtualBox, which is a vulnerable operating system. And then in the recent videos, I've shown you guys how to hack into port 21, which is FTP, port 22 SSH, port 23 Telnet, and today we're going to talk about SMTP. All right, so let me load up Kali Linux. All right, you see my screen, you'll see that I already had the Nmap skin. I had already ran Nmap on 192.168.1.147. I did a service scan, and you can see that's port 25 is open. SMTP postfix. All right, so whenever you're doing a security audit and you see port 25, there's a few things that I like to look for. First thing I'm going to check is I'm going to check to make sure it's not an open relay scanner or open relay server. And what that means is it's an SMTP email server that does not require authentication. That's a bad thing that can be abused. So you want to check for that first. Second thing you can check for the version. So in this case, it's postfix. Check to see what version of postfix is running and make sure there's no vulnerabilities there. But for this purpose in Metasploitable 2 SMTP, what I'm going to show you guys is how to use an SMTP enumeration scanner. And what that does is it allows you to look for user accounts that are configured in that SMTP server. And then once we identify valid user accounts, then we could potentially crack the passwords and have authenticated access to an SMTP server. All right, so to do this, we're going to use Kali Linux, or not Kali Linux, but Metasploit. So let's load up MSF console. It'll take a couple of seconds to load up. And once we load this up, we're going to use the SMTP User Enumeration uh, scanner. And if you don't remember, I'll show you how to search for the scanner, because in case you don't know the name of it. All right, so now we're in Metasploit. So let's do grep, because we only want to see scanners. And you type in scanner, and then we're going to do search SMT. All right, you're going to see a couple different scanners here. All right, we can check the SMTP version, like I was saying earlier. We can check to make sure it's not an old version. You can check to see if it's an SMTP relay, and then you can also check for user enumeration. Use the user enumeration utility to check for user accounts on this SMTP server. We're going to use this tool, so we're going to select use 25. And like with all the modules, you want to do show options, so we can set the proper option. And here we have one option that we need to set. All the other ones are already set. We need to set the R host. That's our target, our Metasploitable 2 server, or the server that you're auditing that has port 25 running. So do set R host, and we'll put our server's IP address. All right, show options. Now you see all the options are set. At this point, you can just type in exploit. But for my video, I'm gonna use a different user list that's much shorter, because this list would take about 20 minutes for it to scan. So I'm gonna set that user file to a user.txt file that I created. It just has a small number of user accounts in it. I'm gonna do set user file users.txt. All right. Now I'm gonna run exploit. All right, this will take a couple of seconds to scan. What it's going to do is it's going to connect to the SMTP server, and it's going to try to verify each account in that user list. And the user list is just a user per line, just like so. It's got a user called backup that we found, a user called bin, a user called postfix, postmaster, and user. These are all accounts that this scanner found on that user. All right, so let's take it a step further. We can actually verify these accounts, and I'll show you how to do that with the SMTP command. So first thing first, to connect to an SMTP server, you can use Telnet or you can use Netcat. We'll use Telnet. We're going to do 192.168.1.147. That's our Metasploitable server's IP address or our target, port 25, right? That's SMTP port. Hit enter. So here we're going to type in, we're going to use the verify command. It's VRFY, and then we're going to verify if backup exists. All right, I'm going to do backup. All right, you notice how we got the 252 response code and 2.000. This tells me that's a valid account because it didn't throw an error message. I'm going to show you another example where an account that's not valid, the response that you would get. So I'm going to do VRFY. I'm going to say test. All right. See, you get a different response, a 550 error. It says recipient address rejected, user unknown in the local recipients table. That tells me that is definitely not a user account. But if I type in, well, if I type in VRFY and I say backup or bin, either one of these accounts that it found, you'll see that those are valid accounts. See the difference, 252 versus 550. This one definitely says it's not a valid account. This one's indicating that it is. All right, so that is how you can use the SMTP user enumeration scanner in Metasploit to check for user accounts on an SMTP server that you may be auditing. All right, I hope you found that useful. Um, guys, I would like to see if you have any comments, put comments in below and we can chat about this. Ask me questions. I'm here to help. So if you like the video, hit subscribe and I'm going to create you guys some new videos. All right, have a good day. Thanks.